have to go.
I'm gonna stick this on this.
Yeah,
shirt.
go for it. Yeah.
All right, Jon Gatt, hair and
Oh my
makeup.
God, I just dropped the mic. Start again.
Oh, is that the microphone? Bye. See you in half an hour. Sorry, Serena. You will just make me laugh.
Hair and makeup with Jon Gatt would probably take a while, wouldn't it?
Been out for 20 minutes. Serious operation.
The man is known for his moustache.
Hey, I'm just here. The moustache runs the show.
Mate, we're sitting down to have a talk about today's race. It's Saturday, round 2 of the Australian Hard Enduro Championship. Jon Gatt's just come off the win of the prologue.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
How's it make you feel?
Oh, sick. That's first win. Got pretty close last race at Cozzy. Wade just reeled me in, and yeah, feels good to come away with it. Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, it feels good to get the whole shot.
Oh, yeah, got the whole shot and just led the whole thing and held it off, held the boys off. So it feels
Yeah,
feel
you got to
awesome.
work hard. And you didn't just not quite hard enough at Cozzy, but this one paid off.
Yeah, we got it done.
Well, where's Jon Gatt come from? All of a sudden, you've just showed up in gold, and now you're making wins. Like, where's this come from?
Dude, I don't know. Like, well, I don't know. Just riding, training, just love the sport. Like, watching videos of everyone, like all the top guys, riding around with all the boys, like just gets you amped up to ride and get faster and win. Like, I don't know. Trying our best.
A couple of years ago, you showed up in silver, and you didn't even do the lower ranks of bronze or anything. You just were riding with mates out in the bush, and they were like,
Yeah,
give us a go. You rocked up the silver. Was it what you thought it was going to be?
It was probably harder than I thought, to be honest with you. Like, I come from a motocross background from years ago. Did motocross for a very long time, and then stopped that and started riding enduro mountain bikes, and then got into enduro motorbikes, and then didn't even know what hard enduro was like 5 years ago, and then had a couple of buddies that rode it, Timon, and they just G'd me up to keep riding it, and then.
Well, let's talk about Timon and that. Where do you ride when you ride with those guys?
Yeah, so we're based in Sydney, Blue Mountains area. So we got a whole heap of riding up there that's sort of not really legal, sort of legal, private property.
Well, look, you're close friends with one of the superstars of the
yeah,
motorcycle industry.
Yeah, so we go up to GB's place a fair bit. He's up in Hampton, so GB's up there. There's a whole heap of riding up at Hampton, Janolan, Sunny Corner sort of thing.
Jeff Ballard, for anybody that's not picking up on the lingo, but
yeah,
the superstar of Australian Enduro.
The man.
The GOAT. Like,
the man.
He's come to events. We would do anything to get him on a bike. I'd love to see him out there.
Yeah.
But I suppose you got to preserve yourself when you get to a certain age. AGB, when you listen to this. I've invited you a couple of years ago, and that invite still stands there. I'll pay your entry fee if you show up, mate. But anyway, so yeah, you've done a bit of trail riding up there in the Blue Mountains. That must, you must have stuff up there that. Yeah.
So when we started, when I started Hard Enduro, there was probably hard stuff out there, and then sort of the more I got into the racing and stuff, we started having to cut in our own tracks that were like a bit gnarlier, because I guess most people don't ride this sort of stuff. So over the years, we've definitely cut in some trails and made some harder stuff, and then mostly, say 80% of my riding, is up the Blue Mountains or upper of the Blue Mountains, and just heaps of stuff there now.
So 5 years ago, you would have probably just been trail riding whatever was there. But now, like you're saying, you're cutting stuff. Are you actually going out and looking for stuff that breaks you? Are you pushing yourself beyond your abilities to get up to the level that you've come so quick?
Yeah, 100% now. Probably the last year, going out the machete, pink tape, cutting in trail, cutting in stuff that I probably, and I might ride it, I might not, and then 2 months later after riding it, it's too easy now, let's move on. So just doing that over and over and over, and just, I guess it's working, it's stepping me up, and yeah.
So 5 years ago you showed up, you're just a guy that was showing up here for a race, probably didn't really even take your first race serious. Probably like everybody else on the field, I'm just happy to finish. But now 2025, the points could come around that you could be the Australian champion.
Yeah,
are you focused in that way now?
Mindset's definitely changed. I think before was sort of like, all right, get through the track, have a fun day. But now it's definitely still having a fun day, but it's more so like, I'm not getting through the track anymore. Now I'm racing the track. Now I'm racing the guys. I see them there and I'm pushing harder. So mindset's definitely become, I guess, more aggressive towards more focused on racing and going fast, whereas before it was just getting through. So yeah, yeah, definitely focused a bit different now.
So we've chatted that you're building tracks to build your skill level up. Are you actually putting training in as well? Are you conditioning your body for these long 4-hour races that you're about to go into?
To be honest, not doing long. During the week, I do about 2 1-hour motos, and then on my Sunday, generally it's not. I don't do motos on the Sunday. Just go trail riding with the boys, just play jib around. So not actually doing long 4-hour motos. Sort of just doing like short 1-hour sprints. And then I've just found that's really elevated my riding, my fitness, so I'm just sort of sticking with that.
What about gym work? Are you doing anything in the gym? You're running, cycling, anything else?
Yeah, I try to do about 2 cycles a week on a road bike. So doing 2 cycles a week and then 2 days of sort of gym work, nothing crazy, just getting the body moving and trying to get a bit stronger. My focus now is to try to get a bit stronger because some of the boys out there, they're a fair bit bigger than me, so.
Well, I know some of these guys are training lifting upwards of 100 to 150 kilos. So
yeah.
Going to start pushing weights like that?
Oh, probably not. I'm trying. It doesn't move when I try to do heavy like that, but I'll, slow steps. I'll get there eventually.
When I question these guys, why are you lifting heavy weights? Bulking sometimes can slow down your reflexes, but the way they see it is you've got to lift that bike up over your head sometimes when you're stuck on the edge of a side of the steep, whatever, you're going to fall, and you've had to save yourself, and now you've got to hold that 110 kilo bike above you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've definitely noticed that now. Sometimes, you lose the back and the front drops, and you could, all right, I'll just kick the bike down the hill and try again. Or you can save heaps of time if you're strong enough. You can just muscle it back onto the track. You might save 1, 2, 3 minutes, 1 or 2 positions. So it's definitely an advantage to be strong. I've just got that's definitely my downside, my weakness. So I am working on it. Yeah.
Well, speed doesn't seem to be the weakness. You picked up a lot of speed in the last year or so. Really have got the attention of a lot of people watching you, how quick you're coming through certain parts of this track. And I know Nikki's been out filming you, so she might edit a bit in while we're having this chat. But where do you feel, when you go out tomorrow, you're going to have pole position. Do you feel like you got 4 hours of that speed in you? Where do you feel it's going to fall apart? Is there a point?
It always changes. Like, prologue's so different to the main race. So obviously we're exposed to some pretty gnarly terrain on the Sunday. So you probably could push as hard if you were willing to. But I find that I struggle personally on the really technical stuff. So for me, that's sort of, I guess, my downfall as well, is just the really technical stuff. So I try to back it off a bit, try to keep it smoother, try to keep on the line. So obviously I'm going to go out there and try my hardest, but yeah, that's probably where I got to work on that really gnarly sort of stuff.
Would the approach be let Ruben get around you and follow him?
It could be, like, depending. Sometimes you can save energy by following someone's line. So who knows? I'll go out there and I'll go hell for broke, and then if they catch me, they do. And if they, if someone's coming up to you and you can tell they're faster, you sort of let them by. So you just play it by ear, I guess.
I know what's going to happen. You're going to see the red mist and you're just going to go full noise. You're going to hold that bike wide open as long as you can.
As long as I can.
You're going to say, well, if I got a lap on him, I got a lap on him. If you don't hold the wind to the end, well, so be it. But make him chase you.
Oh, 100%. You go out there and try hardest, and whatever your hardest is what it is. If they got a bit more speed, it is what it is. So yeah.
Well, you're knocking around with these guys in the top 5 now, and we've seen them do a lot of overseas riding and that. Is there something like that in your future? Will you start looking at rides overseas? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess it's probably the goal for most people in Australia to sort of you're looking at the US circuit or the EU circuit, and you're like, oh, like, that's it. I want to make it there one day, say the Romaniacs or Erzberg or some of the American series. So definitely looking at it. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into it to make it happen. So definitely keen to do it in the next couple of years. It's sort of obviously the logistical side of it that holds most people back, I'd say.
Are we at the point of, like, you're still just playing it by ear and see what happens? Obviously work, money, all that stuff's got to fall in line, or are you actually planning? Is there something ready to go?
Nah, nothing's ready to go. I'm sort of just racing, I'm riding. If something pops up, sweet. If not, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And then even if I don't go for another 1 or 2 years, that's fine. I've got heaps of time to progress here and get better. So when I am over there, I give it a really good crack. So no rush, I think. The more time I can get experience, probably the better when I get over there.
So we know that you ride with a few of the guys that are high-end silver riders and stuff, and they usually ride with you on that. But are you going out on your own? Are you doing stuff by yourself? Are you?
Yeah. Probably 70% of my ridings by
really
myself.
Surprises me how much you top guys spend on your own. It's I suppose a concern amongst everybody that rides a trail bike out there in the bush that something could happen to them, and it could become, you know, a situation where you might have to spend a night out there if a busted knee or something.
Yeah.
But at your level, is it something that concerns you when you're out there trail riding?
To be honest, no, not really. You don't think about it. You never want to think about that sort of stuff. But every single time I ride, I've got an EPIRB with me, so that gives you a bit of peace of mind.
Well, let's talk about that stuff. So what do you take when you go out? We talked about the EPIRB. Are you taking any first aid stuff with you?
Nah.
Tool-wise, you carrying a standard toolkit? Yeah.
Nah, I just carry a little toolkit, basic toolkit, same one that I race with.
The little KDM one that comes in with the bike?
Yeah, I've chucked a couple extra things in there. I've got like bits of chain, a chain breaker, and a bit of radiator hose just to get you out of trouble. But generally when I go out for a ride by myself, it's my basic toolkit, exact same as what I race with. And then just a Garmin EPIRB, and then...
How many Ks would you do in a day? So are we going out afternoon after you finish work, or you?
Yeah, so in the week I go out, do my training loop's about an hour 10. That's not very long, it's only about 6 Ks, so puts it into perspective how slow it is. But then we have a big training loop sort of up top of the mountains, and yeah, that's sort of a
So let's put that in perspective. 6 Ks in an hour 10. That prologue track was 3.4 Ks.
Yeah.
And you did your first lap in 7 minutes 40.
Yeah, so very different.
So
very different type of riding.
You obviously have some stuff out there where you're really battling through.
Yeah.
You've had a little bit of a look on. I seen you go out with Anthony yesterday, and you had a little bit of a look at some stuff. Obviously, you haven't seen a lot of the track. It's what have we got? 14 Ks.
Yeah.
So you've seen a little tiny bit
maybe
of it.
2 Ks, yeah.
And I think you walked up a creek and you seen a waterfall section or something.
Yeah, we're in for it tomorrow. It doesn't look just outrageous, but it looks like probably some of the hardest stuff we've raced. So looking forward to it, just to see how.
Well, the other thing is
the body goes.
If anybody's wondering, never has there been a race held on this property. So everything you guys are doing is fresh. There's no trails. There's no. And being that you guys are gold riders, we don't put a lot of test riders through the gold sections.
No.
So a lot of times you guys are the ones breaking the surface. So.
Yeah, I'm taking off tomorrow first. That'll be me. So fingers crossed, see how we go. But yeah.
Well, one thing I can guarantee you, because we did have a fair bit of wet weather here a couple of weeks ago, and it has baked into the soil, so traction is not a problem.
Yeah. Oh, even today the start line was grass paddock. Oh, it was just hooking up insane. I could not keep the front end on the ground. That start straight. So I think traction will probably be perfect this weekend. So
to the
cut it all in.
Yeah. But, so what else is in your mind, like leading up till tomorrow? Is there nerves in you at the moment, or are they going to kick in tonight when you're trying to sleep? Or
nothing at the moment. I'm just still stoked. Stoked from that. So just did a bit of bike work now, just chilling out, gonna have some lunch, and I'll just take it easy, and then it is what it is. What can you do? You go out there and try your best, and that's all you can tell yourself. So keeps you pretty calm, I guess.
So you're right. It's a 25 300 KTM 300.
23. It's a 23 model. Yeah.
Actually, it still looks pretty well kept for a motorcycle that you've been riding.
Yeah, look after it. After the old.
Do you still have the old 2020?
No, that's sold. No, I got rid of that.
That's gone. So do you have a practice bike?
No, that's it. Yeah, that thing's got like 560, 570 hours on it now.
That's the 2020?
23.
The 23 has 500 hours on it and still looks as clean as it does.
Yeah, and it just keeps chugging on, so yeah.
Oh, right.
Keep that'll go.
Well, I was trying to lead the conversation to what changes have you made to it from standard that would give you a better ride? You're putting effort into the suspension, gearing. Is there anything happening there?
Yeah. The gearing, I run 1252, so it's pretty short gearing. That's really good for the slow sort of creek beds when you're in first gear. And then suspension, got a pretty cool setup now. One of the guys, MBS suspension up the mountains, helps me out with that. So put some lighter springs in it just to make it really soak up everything. Suspension, gearing, and just protection parts really, just to keep it going through a race.
And you're not a heavy guy. You're probably only 70 kilos?
72, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a lot of effort involved to get that suspension right for somebody your size, or is it KTM pretty close to that?
I think it's still got the stock spring in the rear, and then I think we just went I can't tell you if we went lighter or heavier in the fork, but yeah, I don't think it's too far from standard, to be honest with you.
So you just give them to the fork guy, the suspension guy, and say, hey, just make it work for me.
Yeah. It's not my department.
Is he coming out there with you and watching you ride? Is that what's happening there?
Yeah. He's coming out to the track with me, and he's sort of watching, and he obviously has a very keen eye for it, so he knows what he's looking for. So he's like, oh, I think we should do this. Yep, let's do it. Let's run with that. So a couple of weeks ago, we went out testing, and we made some major improvements. So yeah, suspension's feeling very good at the moment, and I guess it showed today. Like, it was really good in those fast creeks. So.
Yeah. So there's a section on this track which it's your little tiny Caldina type thing. A lot of rocks moving around underneath the bike in a creek. Obviously not big ones, but your bike did seem to float across the top of them. You kept the speed up and got on top of the rocks, and the bike seemed to really suck it up. Whereas some other guys might have had a bit more of a harsh front end, and when they hit that same rock, it deflected back into the handlebars and it pull them up. So whatever you guys have done, that's you really need to talk up your mate there, or your suspension guy.
Yeah, MBS suspension, hit him up.
And what about tyres? Are you putting an effort into choosing a tyre, or you just go with whatever's the cheapest one on the shelf?
Nah, so now I'm running the Plus tyres. They're awesome. Help me out a bit, and they've got 2 tyres to choose from, the A and the B spec. Well, I think it's just a normal and the B spec. So today for Prologue, I ran the B spec, which is a 15mm knob. So it's sort of taller than your normal knob. And then tomorrow we'll run the short knob, which is 13.5mm. That's your normal sort of Plus rear. And yeah, just a super soft mousse, and yeah.
So are you putting a lot of effort into cutting mousses and that, or is it you just chucking a mousse in and let it develop? Or
nah, that mousse in the rear there is probably like 200 hours old. I've got pieces of front mousse in there, like I don't even know what mousse it is, it's old, and I just use that as my race mousse, and then I've got practice mousses that are a bit firmer, and yeah, I've had those mousses for 2 years at least now.
So 2 years on a mousse, 200 hours old, it's probably got chunks of crap cut out of it in every direction.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, I don't want to run a mousse because they're a bit too expensive. Like, obviously, once you're doing your right maintenance on mousses, they're much more... who wants to be that guy stuck on a trail with a flat tyre? If you're not running mousses, don't bother showing up.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So, I don't know, what else is there going on in the Jon Gatt world that we need to bring up?
Don't know, pretty simple, man. Just work and ride.
What are you doing for work? For a living?
Fitter and machinist. So work in a steel mill down in Sydney. Do some crane maintenance, some general fitter maintenance down there. So that keeps me busy. Work sort of 5-6 days a week, flat out, and then ride in between when I can. And yeah.
Okay, so we talked about previous sports that you were doing a little bit of mountain biking and so on. Were you competitive in those sports? Were you doing it with a goal to win them?
Yeah, well, in motocross, no, I was never that good in motocross, to be honest with you. I was never fast enough. But when I got older, I sort of stopped doing motocross, I think when I was 16, and then started riding enduro mountain bikes, and then pretty competitive in that, like sort of did the whole national series and did a couple of races internationally in Europe, and then did some riding trips in America and stuff. But was never like winning big races, but was sort of at the pointy end, I guess. And then just wanted to get on a motorbike again. So, yeah.
So do you feel like a bit of that mountain biking came across to the enduro?
Oh, 100%, I think, because I had the speed from the motocross. I wasn't super fast, but I had the speed. And then from the enduro, I had all the technical side of it, understanding how to read rocks and routes, and it was sort of enduro mountain biking sort of 5-6 hour days as well. So the endurance was there, and yeah, heaps of it crossed over. I mean, we're pretty much riding the same sort of tracks, obviously a lot faster on the motorbike, so massive help, massive background.
So this is a chat I've actually had with my previous life and other people. I feel like fast downhill mountain biking comes across to enduro riding very quickly, because when you're riding a mountain bike, the fastest line is always the straightest line. Yeah. And then when you ride dirt bikes with people that haven't gone through that type of progression, they will look for the line around all the crap to sort of save themselves on the bike and whatever else. But when you've come from riding mountain bikes with nowhere near the suspension that these dirt bikes have, but you've trained yourself to pick the straightest line, doesn't matter what you're about to hit,
Yeah.
and you bring that over to a dirt bike,
Yeah.
with much longer suspension, better tyres,
Yeah.
you're going to be quick.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I rode enduro, so I was only like 140, 150 mil travel. Never really got into the downhill side of it. So with the enduro, you're riding downhill tracks on a sort of a more delicate bike. So it forced you to pick the nice clean lines. And I guess, yeah, that just obviously transferred really well on the motorbike.
So when you gave up riding the motocross and you're like, you know, you said you weren't really that into it and you probably weren't the quickest rider in the group that you were riding with, and you went back to dirt bikes after the mountain biking, did you all of a sudden shock yourself? Was it like a moment of you going, hang on, this is actually quite easy now?
So I don't know. When I got back into the motorbike, I was never really, we weren't racing. Like my first race on the motorbike in I don't know how many years was the Mount Morgan one when I did silver. So I never really didn't know where I was at sort of speed wise. It was always just social riding. Like it's never going out doing laps with the guys. It was always just social riding. And yeah, I guess when I got that good result at Mount Morgan, then I was like, oh shit, this feels pretty cool. Like, and then that sort of, I guess, relit a fire that was, I guess, in me. And then yeah, but before that, no, it was just riding with the boys, like casual as.
Because what I was trying to bring across then is, I'm very similar to yourself. I rode dirt bikes as a kid in my early 20s and stuff, and gave it up. And I was very uncoordinated. I didn't really have a lot going on. And then I went into downhill mountain biking in my 20s and got somewhat decent results. And when I came back to dirt biking in my 30s, it was very easy. It was one of the easiest things I'd ever done. I couldn't believe how easy it was. And all I can contribute that to was the mountain bike. I put it all back to that. And the skills that you can pick up off those things are amazing. And then if you continue with that sport and bring those skills over to this sport, all of a sudden you're going to be good at it.
Yeah.
Or much. It's just going to be a lot easier for you to do.
Yeah.
Is that something you felt? Or
I guess so, yeah. Like
if you stopped and think about it now?
Yeah, probably, yeah. 100%. Like the mountain bike teaches you crazy sort of finesse and skill, and then yeah, I guess so, yeah. Makes
sort of what I'm trying to get
sense, yeah.
Get at is anybody who's watching or listening to this is sort of, you know, they're obviously going to be interested in this sport. That's why they're watching this, but they're probably struggling with getting their speed up to a level that they want it to be. And if they start opening their horizons and looking at other options, they might be able to pick up the speed that they need, or even the skill to do stuff easier and not beat their body up.
Yeah.
So that's basically where I'm getting to that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about your overseas. What races were you doing over there on your pushy?
I did an EWS round in Spain, in Ainsa. So it's Enduro World Series. I think it's got a different name now. That was in 2018 or something. So yeah, did a world round there. That was pretty cool. I can't remember. I might have been like 15th, something in juniors overall. And then we did another world round down in Tasmania, another EWS round there. And I think I got 15th as well. Same result, but
that's
yeah.
still pretty cool. Like,
oh, I was sick, yeah.
To travel around
100%.
the world,
Yeah.
go to Spain to ride a pushy and be somewhat competitive on it. That's still pretty cool. That's
yeah, it was sick, yeah.
They're one of those moments, like, it doesn't matter how much you spend on a holiday or whatever travel you do, you're not going to have the memory of actually competing while traveling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's got to be pretty cool, and the people you meet and the contacts you make, and you've got those memories in your head for your whole life.
100%.
It doesn't matter if you lose the trophies or whatever else comes.
Yeah, trophies are cool, but like just doing it, just getting involved is.
You've bought the experience, and you got to be in the sport to get that experience.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right, well, mate, is there anybody you want to thank? Are there people that you want to give it up to that helped you get here?
Yeah, I guess Ballards Off-Road, they helped me out a whole heap, so shout out to them. MBS Suspension, as we were talking about. Plu's Tyres, and Jeremy from Dirt Bike Burrito Podcast. Good dude, helps me out a bit. So yeah, just shout out to them. Probably wouldn't be here without the support from those guys. Any support goes such a long way. Everything's pretty expensive in this game, so yeah, shout out to those guys.
No, it's good that you got a good crew of people behind you, and they're backing you up, man. So it depends on how you go tomorrow. You might want to talk to me. You might be pretty excited. And we'll put that on the back of this interview, or you might tell me to piss off and you don't want nothing to do with me.
Yeah, it could go either way, but it is what it is.
All right, mate. I can't wait to catch up with you tomorrow and see how you went.
Cheers. Thank you.